Hi there. So this is the absolute last lesson of Module 2. And as you can see, I have picked purple because it's the end of things, which just makes for the best. So here we go, going in purple this time. I'm going to go ahead and do two problems with you. The first one is the very first one. This is kind of an introductory kind of a problem. Michelle wants to save $150 for a trip to Six Flags amusement park. If she saves $12 a week, how many weeks will it take her to save enough money for this trip? And so one way to look at that is with one of these tape diagrams. And so you know that all total, that the whole thing all together is going to be worth 150 total. And she's going to go week by week. So here's the first week. That's 12. Here's the second week. That's 12 more. Here's the third week. That's 12 more. And so we could just keep going. We don't know at this point how many weeks it's going to be. So she's just going to keep going week by week until she gets to this one right here. This is another 12. So are all these. They're all 12s. We have to figure out how many 12s it's going to take to get to 150. So visually what you can see that we're doing is we're taking 150 and we're dividing it by 12s. So let's do that. So we have 150 for our goal, and we're going to do $12 a week. I know that 12 goes into 15 one time, and I know that the difference between 2 and 5 is 3. So now we're at 30. I know that if I have 3 12s, that's going to be 10, 20, 30, right? Plus 3 times 2 is 6, so it's going to be a little too big. So I can't go 3 of them, but I know I can go 2 of them, which is going to get me a 24. 12 plus 12 is 24. And then if we say, 24 plus 6, 4 plus 6 is 10, so 24 plus 6 is 30. So now what we can do, because we're talking about money here, or weeks, right? So we can go in and we can put in a decimal. So here's our decimal. So now we're trying to think of 60. We know that 10 times 6 gets us 60, but we've got that extra 2 sitting over there, so it's probably going to be too much. So let's try 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 gets us our 60 that we were looking for. So how many weeks is it going to take her? So I'm going to underline how many weeks. Because if you were going to say 12.5, then you're kind of thinking, well, are we talking money? $12.50? No, because we've already got 12 on each of these weeks. So oops, I forgot my T. It will take, here's a little cursive for you, 12 and 1/2 weeks to save. And how much? $150. So that's our answer, our word problem, and now we've got words in our answer. Now I'm going to cruise on down, and I'm going to skip over 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go ahead and go to number 5. Let's go easiest to hardest. A park is 4 times as long as it is wide. So if we're going to draw our park, it's going to have these pieces to it, these measurements. So here's how wide it is. The park is this wide. And it's going to have 4 of those for how long it is. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So it's that long and that wide. Now I'm going to change colors just because I can. So here we go. So we know that these are going to be the same because it's rectangle. So 1, 2, 3, 4 long, and this is how wide it is. It's one of those. The distance all the way around the park. So if we have all the way around, so if we add all of these all the way around, as you go, they're going to add up to this amount that's right here. So all the way around is 12.5 kilometers. Now it's asking you to figure out the area of the park. So it's asking how big is the inside of the park. So area is equal to length times width. We know how long it is if we take all of our lengths and add them to all of our widths. So let's figure out how many pieces we have here. 1, 2 wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know that 2 plus 8 equals 10. So we're going to divide this by 10 so that we know how long each one of those pieces is, because there's 10 equal pieces that equal this. So you remember, if we're dividing by 10, what's actually happening here in that case is that you are losing a place value. If you divide by 10, you're losing a place value. If you multiply by 10, you get a place value gain, because 1 times 10, you gain that place value for the 0, because 1 times 10 is 10. So now if we're losing a place value, this is going to move on over, right? This decimal is going to move over 1. So each one of these right here, I'll circle it, each one of those lines is equal to 1 25/100ths of a kilometer. And so now to figure out the length is equal to 4 of those. 4 times 1.25. The width, how wide it is right here, that is equal to 1 25/100ths. And then when we find the area, we're going to take these two and we're going to multiply them by each other, because length times width. Let's figure out what our length is. So I'm going to do it right up here. I'm going to say 1 25/100ths times 4. I know 4 times 5 gets me 20. Here's my 0. Carry my 2. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Carry my 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And it's not 500, right? That's too big. If each one of those pieces is a little bit more than 1, there's 2 decimal places here, there has to be 2 decimal places here. So 5. So now we're going to say length is equal to 5, width is equal to 1 25/100ths. So now to find the area is equal to 5 times 1 25/100ths. So let's go ahead and do it algorithm, multiplication algorithm style, parent style. 1.25 times 5. Now we multiply. 5 times 5 is and always will be 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Carry again. 5 times 1 plus 1 is 6. And then we have 2 decimal places in there, so it's going to end up here. So if we have 5 times that, so we're taking the 5 is the length, the width is 1.25. So the area then, sorry about the cough, the area, how big is the interior? 6.25. How big is the space inside of it? So if you're kind of not too sure, because that's such a small number, what we could do is say that this is 1, this one is 4, and length times width in this case is also going to be smaller than the perimeter around it, because this is a 4, This is a 1. How long would it take you to walk all the way around it? 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 4 more is 9, plus 1 more is 10. It would take 10 to go all the way around it. The area, the space on the inside then, is 4 times 1, which is 4. Does that make sense? I hope so. So for your homework tonight, I'm just going to ask you to do one problem. Let's cruise on up here to the exit ticket. Haley borrowed $1,854 from her parents. She agreed to repay them in, here's an important word, equal installments. What the heck is an installment? It's basically a payment. So equal payments throughout the next 18 months. So she's going to make 18 payments to her parents. Each one of them is going to be the same. And at the end, it's going to get them this much money back again. So how much will she owe her parents after a year? So you know 18 months and a year is different. How much will she still owe after 12 months? She's going to pay for a total of 18 months, but they're asking how much left is she going to owe. So if you think about it, that's like the last 4 months. So if you figure out how much each month costs, then you can figure that out. Okay, so this one's kind of complicated. Good luck to you. Yay, it's the last lesson!